We generally think of leaders as bold and fearless. But here's the little secret. We all have fear. It's our relationship to fear that defines us. In this 5 minutes of focus, we learn the secret to conquering fear by understanding where it comes from and how to overcome it. It's not about being brave, it's about fighting our natural instinct. And it's all taught to us by lions. Our best thinking is done in the frontal lobes of the brain. However, when we're triggered by fear, we lose those capabilities. As soon as we recognize fear, our amygdala, which is a small organ in the middle of our brain, goes to work. It alerts our nervous system, which sets our body's fear response into motion. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released. Our blood pressure and our heart rate increase. You probably have learned this as fight or flight syndrome in Biology 101. And by the way, it can happen at any time. You see, our body doesn't really know the difference between fear of potentially crashing your car and the fear of what may happen in a boardroom or in a meeting at work. And there are certainly times for flight, but we want to get into the mode where we actually can overcome fear and calm ourselves. And this is our model for doing that. We're in two states at any given point in time. We're either over the line, in which state we are curious, open, and all of the energies in the frontal lobes of our brain, or we are in a fear state where we get triggered and hijacked, and we go to one of these three personas: the angry villain, the poor victim, or the hero that comes in uninvited and saves the day. And recognize that it is one of three fears that initially gets triggered that sends us under the line. This is where instinct takes over. And this is where choice is important, because we might be afraid of losing our security, or losing approval, or losing control. But recognize that we can actually change our brain chemistry in the moment and choose something different. We learn this by lions. And lions help us understand that if we go with instinct, we're likely going to be making a mistake. So lions hunt together, and the female lions of the pride are the primary hunters. And when one of the lions happens to get older, they don't lose their value. So here's what lions have learned about gazelles. They've learned that when a female lion gets too old to run with the pride and hunt effectively, she still has a very valuable role. Imagine you're a gazelle on the Serengeti, and you're just casually eating your lunch, not really thinking much about it. And you hear this roar behind you. Well, you'll obviously pay attention. And instinct tells you to run away from the roar. But the reality is the lions know this about the gazelle's instinct. They get the brain chemistry of the gazelle. And so the lions position the elderly lion behind the herd of gazelle, and the rest of the pride waits in front of the gazelles, knowing instinct will kick in. And unfortunately for the gazelles, they run right into the waiting pride of lions. So if you want to be a safe gazelle, we can improve our ability to reduce fear. And here are a few tips. Get curious about why you're fearful or why you may be resisting something, because fear can show up as resistance as well. Don't judge yourself for being afraid. Remember, you're working against biology that's been there for thousands of years. Understand the resistance. Is it a loss of security that you're afraid of, a loss of approval, or a loss of control? Envision how it can actually be successful if you run towards your fear. And remember, give yourself permission to be vulnerable. Innovation comes from vulnerability. So run like a gazelle directly to the roar. If you've enjoyed this 5 minutes of focus, come and check us out. Visit our website. Potentially sign up for our YouTube channel where you'll find not only this 5 minutes of focus, but many others as well. If you'd like to receive free white papers or webinar alerts, get a hold of Laura and she'll be happy to help you. Thank you, and remember, run to the roar.